for Apache women. We'll give your baby milk, but marry one of us." Their response shocked everyone. The wind howled through the vast desert, carrying the scent of dust and the promise of a storm. The rugged cowboy Nathan had been traveling for days through this barren wilderness, trying to find shelter for himself and the infant he had found just hours earlier. He had discovered the baby lying alone in the cold desert, abandoned, with nothing but a torn blanket wrapped around it. The baby's cries echoed through the empty landscape, but Nathan's heart hardened as he scooped the child into his arms, his mind racing for a solution. He couldn't leave the infant out here to die, but he had no idea where to go for help. He was alone in this unforgiving land. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow over the rugged terrain, Nathan spotted a faint movement in the distance. His instincts kicked in, something wasn't right. A group of 3 women appeared on the horizon, emerging from the desert as if summoned by the wind itself. They were dressed in traditional Apache-style attire, their strong, confident postures contrasting sharply with the fragility of the baby in Nathan's arms. The women's faces were hidden beneath the shadows of their broad-brimmed hats, but their presence was unmistakable. Nathan instinctively took a step back, his hand instinctively tightening around the baby, preparing for the worst. But the women moved closer, their expressions unreadable. The one in the center stepped forward, her eyes scanning the child with a knowing look. She was tall with sharp features, her skin bronzed by the desert sun, and her attire detailed with intricate embroidery. Her gaze was both fierce and calm, radiating strength, and for a moment, Nathan wasn't sure whether he was looking at a savior or a predator. Without a word, she raised her hand, gesturing for Nathan to stop. "We'll give your baby milk," she said, her voice low, but clear in the silence of the desert. "But you must marry one of us." The words echoed through Nathan's mind, each syllable a stark contrast to the gravity of the situation. His eyes widened in disbelief. His immediate reaction was confusion, but also a surge of gratitude. Here were women, strangers, offering help in a place where survival was never guaranteed. And yet they had a request, a demand. He couldn't help but feel the weight of it. The woman who had spoken was the leader, her voice carrying an air of authority. "The child is hungry, tired, and cold," she continued. "We have milk, but it comes with a price. You have no other choice." She glanced at the other 2 women, who stood silently by her side, their expressions equally unreadable. One of them, with dark eyes and braided hair, stared at the cowboy with a faint smirk. The other, taller and more slender, studied him with a look of calm curiosity. Nathan's mind raced, torn between disbelief and desperation. He wasn't in a position to refuse. His thoughts focused solely on the baby, its pitiful cries still ringing in his ears. He needed to act quickly, to do whatever it took to save the child. The thought of marriage, a strange and foreign proposition, hung heavy in his mind. He had heard of Apache customs, but he had never been close to any tribe before. This was something entirely different, something beyond his comprehension. The leader of the women took a step closer, her eyes piercing through him. "You will not question us. We know what is best for the child. You will stay with us, or you will leave with nothing." The words felt like a warning, but Nathan couldn't argue. The baby needed milk and he needed their help. He nodded, slowly at first, unsure of the implications. The offer was simple, but the weight of it would change everything. Without further conversation, the leader of the women turned and motioned for Nathan to follow. The 3 women led him across the desert toward a nearby cave, where they had set up a temporary camp. The firelight flickered in the distance, casting an eerie glow on the stone walls. Nathan followed, his mind still reeling from the strange turn of events. Once inside, the women sat him down by the fire and began to prepare the milk for the baby. They worked with practiced hands, their movements fluid and confident. As they did, Nathan's thoughts drifted. The world outside the cave was harsh, unforgiving and dangerous, but here, in the warmth of their fire, there was a sense of calm, a strange feeling of safety. His chest tightened as he gazed at the women. Each one had a unique presence, each one strong in their own way. They were not afraid of him, nor did they seem to care for his confusion. They were women of the desert, fierce and unyielding, and Nathan felt the weight of their demands settling on his shoulders. He glanced down at the baby, now quiet in his arms, feeding from the milk provided by the women. A deep sense of relief washed over him, but it was quickly overshadowed by the understanding that his life had just taken an unexpected turn. He wasn't sure what would happen next, but he knew that his future would now be intertwined with these Apache women. As the fire crackled and the night settled in, Nathan couldn't shake the sense that the answers he sought were now far beyond his reach, in a place where neither he nor the baby could ever go back. The days that followed were a blur of strange customs and uneasy adjustments. Nathan found himself more and more entangled in the world of the Apache women, their way of life both foreign and intriguing. They were not hostile, but they were unyielding in their customs. The leader, who had introduced herself as Nayeli, had made it clear from the start that Nathan's stay would come with certain expectations. It wasn't just about providing for the baby, it was about survival, about adhering to the laws of the land and the tribe. Nayeli, the woman who had spoken to him on the first night, was the most direct. She was a fierce leader, her words sharp as the desert winds that cut through the land. Her sisters, Tala and Sani, were more reserved but no less determined. Tala was the younger of the two, quick to smile but even quicker to act when the situation called for it. Sani, the eldest, was quiet, but her eyes held the weight of years of experience. They had given Nathan a place by their fire, a roof over his head in the form of a simple shelter made from woven brush and hides. The baby, whom Nathan had named Elijah, thrived under their care, feeding well and growing stronger with each passing day. For that, Nathan was endlessly grateful. But the offer of marriage still loomed over him. It was a reality he couldn't escape, no matter how hard he tried. Each day brought new tests of his patience and strength. He had to prove himself worthy of their trust, to show them that he wasn't just some outsider who had wandered into their world. He had to work, learn, and adapt to the Apache way of life, a life that was far different from his own. The desert taught him harsh lessons about survival, about respect for the land and its people. It was a slow process, but Nathan began to understand the ways of these women, their wisdom, and their connection to the earth. As time passed, the tension between him and the women grew. The offer of marriage was always present, an unspoken promise that he had yet to fulfill. It wasn't about love, it was about necessity, about survival. Nathan couldn't deny the growing bond between him and Nayeli, her strength and leadership drawing him in, but he also couldn't ignore the price of their help, the price that would forever change the course of his life. One evening, as the sun dipped low over the desert, Nayeli approached him. Her expression was unreadable, but there was something in her eyes, something that told Nathan this was the moment he had been dreading. "You have lived with us for long enough," she said, her voice steady but firm. "The child is safe, but you must make a choice. Marry one of us or leave. There is no other way." Nathan's heart pounded in his chest. This was it, the moment of truth. His future, the future of his child, hung in the balance. Would he stay and honor their customs, or would he walk away? Knowing the cost of that decision would be steep, he glanced at Elijah, now sleeping peacefully beside the fire, and then looked up at Nayeli. The firelight danced in her eyes, but it wasn't just the fire that burned in her gaze. It was the unspoken promise of survival, of protection, of belonging. Nathan took a deep breath, the weight of the moment settling on him. His choice would define everything.